Mark, we were going through all the different flavors, and I appreciate your feedback. That impressive. We have so many flavors, but espresso. This was one of your favorites.
That's my favorite.
This is your favorite.
Yep.
I'm gonna open it up.
Sure.
Try some. We have Fireball. We already have dark right here. But Mark, as we get into a little discussion about toffee, we also get into the discussion around the chocolate that we put in toffee, especially with your 38 years of experience in confectionery and bakery.
20 bakery and 18 selling confectionery ingredients.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
So if I get an opinion from anyone, I respect and understand your opinion is going to be one. I've tasted lots of toffee, I've tasted lots of candy, and yes, I'll tell you all the good, bad, and different.
I'm from England, so I'm very familiar with toffee.
There you go. You're from the UK. All right. So I'm going to crack it open. Fresh batch.
Fresh batch.
Tell me, what is toffee after you take a bite?
Big bite. Well, the first thing about this toffee is with the espresso toffee there, the espresso beans. There's whole beans on here, like whole beans, roasted. If you love coffee as much as I do, this is the one for you. But basically the caramel toffee, it's hard to explain. The texture is somewhere between snappy and chewy. It's kind of right in the middle. And to me, that's what differentiates different toffees from around the world. And this one to me is the texture that's like unique. It's different. It's not too chewy, not too crispy. It's kind of like, I'd love to know the temperature. Probably a trade secret, but your temperature of manufacturing that particular texture is obviously bang on. And it's a winner, big time. I've tasted them all, and they're all good, excellent. The espresso would be my number one because I'm a coffee guy. It's less sweet. It's strong cocoa flavor in the chocolate with the coffee beans as well. It's really decadent.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
When we started down the journey of building Two Brothers Toffee, we had paired up and met months and months ago.
Yeah.
And I had actually called in your support because I started to use Cacao Barry, and I remember the first one I used. Maybe it was Lactase Superior.
Right.
And I called you on the phone, and I go, "There's something wrong with your chocolate. It doesn't stay on."
Yeah.
And you graciously helped me and spent 20 minutes on the phone with me. And the first thing you asked, well, wait, tell me a little bit more about your toffee and how maybe the chocolate, because that doesn't make sense to me. And if I recall with you and bring you back to the memory was, you first thing you'd ask me is, well, how are you tempering your chocolate? I said, well, I don't know. I melt it and I just pour it on the toffee. And you said, hold on a second. Okay. Secondarily, you asked me, what did you use before? And before, what I used was just anything you buy from the grocery store.
Right.
Chocolate morsels you bake with. You start to get down and give a little bit of explanation. Said, no, that's for making certain cookies, or it's got additives. It's not for what you'd really want.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and you explained to me, it sounds like you want to make a gourmet candy. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
But to finish it, as all the time we spent on figuring out the temperature and how to cook the butter and the sugar and the nuts, and I go, where the chocolate's the finisher, and you said, absolutely, it will make or break a great toffee. And so let me come see you and let me give you a bunch of different samples, really, and chocolate that could absolutely ignite the butter, the sugar flavor, and totally change your product. And that's when you started to introduce Cacao Barry. And then from there, it's pivoted into Two Brothers Chocolate and other adventures for us. But could you kind of explain the difference of the texture, the viscosity, the fluidity of the different chocolate, of why it pairs so well with a hard crack candy, as you call it, like toffee?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why it pairs well, and it's not just the flavor, it's not just it's the workability. There was a problem with the workability of the previous chocolate. So one of the advantages of Cacao Barry is we have different levels of fluidity
Right.
on the chocolate itself. So different levels of flavor depending on the cocoa fat ratio to sugar. It's not just about the cocoa content, it's about the blend of fat versus the cocoa solids. And you needed something that was a little bit less fluid, a bit more elastic even, if you want to say that, because it was actually bouncing off. It was contracting and bouncing off your toffee. There was a problem having it amalgamate together.
Okay.
So, with a little bit of playing around with different viscosities and fat contents, and you found the one that actually worked really well, obviously with a recommended temperature guide as well, because 3 things in chocolate are so important: time, temperature, and movement.
Yeah.
Without all 3, you're going to have a problem. So once you understood the specific temperatures needed for the chocolate component, you've now got the right equipment to create that, replicate that on a much larger scale. And the chocolate was obviously the one you chose, and you've chose numerous. I think you've chose 6 different chocolates, if I'm not correct or incorrect.
I did.
6 chocolates for each different one, and I do believe that every application or every flavor can be a different chocolate, but it can also be similar ones. But every application has a challenge, and there's always a solution. So
Yeah.
I'm a chocolate solution provider. It sounds easy enough, because it's not easy enough. We make about 300 different recipes of chocolate, and not all of them work for the same application. So it's what we do. We give you the options. You tasted probably 20 or 30 different samples,
Enjoyed every one.
and you arrived at 6 or 7 that you're going to launch the 10 major products with. And they're all great. By the way, I tasted them with my family as well, and my kids are teenagers.
Yeah.
Obviously, they gravitate more to the milk and the white chocolate one, and
Real sweet.
to me, and the hazelnut one as well, which is superb. Yeah, there's something about the way you caramelize the nuts as well, and I won't give away too much, but you have a really good caramelization of the nuts, which intensifies the flavor of the nuts. And of course, the chocolate is just in the background, of course, but it doesn't overpower the toffee. You want to have a nice union between the confectionery and the chocolate. You don't want the chocolate overpowering the confectionery. You don't want the confectionery overpowering the chocolate. So it's a nice balance. And I think Cacao Barry does that very well. We build our chocolates for flavor. I would say flavor is the first thing, then texture and viscosity is kind of secondary. The more cocoa fat you have in a chocolate, the more fluid the chocolate is. You're also diluting the flavor, so you can have too much fat. I've tasted some chocolates that have got too much cocoa butter in there, and you end up losing a bit of the punchy flavor.
Right.
So we build Cacao Barry, the basic range and the single origin range, with a little bit less cocoa butter, which means more intense flavor. So it's built for pastry, it's built for confectionery, and best of both worlds. So yeah, you've picked the 6 or 7 good ones, and love the products and the packaging.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. So
Well, thank you.
the texture of the actual toffee is what makes it
Hard to
it's
resist.
just, I can't describe it. It's the chew, the crack. Yeah, exceptional.
You started our conversation just reminding me, outside your accent, you're from the UK. Toffee, I would say it's born there.
Yep.
It's like the founding place of toffee. Different varieties of it. Many friends and people that have already purchased and get their feedback like, we love this. This doesn't taste quite like any toffee we've had before. Or others like, this is the first time I've ever had toffee. So here's some of the feedback. Isn't it the pink and blue and yellow kind that's made with salt water? No, that's taffy. Oh wait, is it like the Werther's Original that is the hard that basically you gotta like suck on until it finally dissolves? Or is it Macintosh or what's another one? Almond Roca, these different, and it's kind of hard to explain. So knowing that you grew up on it and it's something that it's a candy you appreciate the time and energy that goes into making it, especially when you start to pair it with the world's best chocolate and where those origins are and where the nuts are and the butters and the sugar, and when it's done right, you should have a gourmet treat that you can have any time of year, but describe our toffee compared to others. Where would it play in the range?
I think the thing that's different about yours, it tastes like it's not as sweet as the other toffees on the market, you know, and I've tasted toffees, like you say, all over the world, and generally they tend to be sweet, tend to be the same viscosity, texture in the mouth, and nothing wrong with that. It's just that this one, you would never believe, you know, I mean, there's obviously sugar in here, but it's obviously the way you caramelize the sugar in the process and the degree of caramelization that you achieve. You're really pushing the envelope, I think. You're creating more of a robust, sugary caramelization flavor, as opposed to just a soft, syrupy, ooey gooey, sticky, non-caramelized sugar texture, which is just pure sugar, sweetness.
Yeah.
So this is intensely, you know, I'm surprised by the nutritional, you know, it's actually, it is low sugar, kind of, in comparison. Flavor-wise, absolutely, it strikes me as being not a health food by any means, but it's as healthy as it can be. You know, the calorie, the chocolate you're using is reducing the overall calories as well. Even the white chocolate you chose, it's a 34%. You know, it's a white chocolate with 34% fat, which is the highest on the market.
Right.
And a lot of milk in there as well. So the sugar component is lower on the white chocolate and the milk chocolates than some of the other chocolates on the market. So
stick to your teeth.
A little bit, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
It leaves an after.
It's gone now.
But it's not.
But
How about too hard? I know
as I explained to you before, I've had some English toffees that you could be chewing them an hour later, and you'd have to, you know, you'd have to be messing around, go see a dentist.
I've had toffee before that's almost like after you eat jelly beans.
Yeah.
They stick in your molars. They're there. You feel like you've got a treat for hours.
How about? Nicely.
I think there's a perception out there that sometimes toffee is too hard, and it's like biting into literally like a rock. But it's got a crack that's easy for you.
Yeah. You guys are putting obviously a lot of good butter in there, added butter and things like that, which softens the overall crack. You know, makes it more expensive as well, but it also makes it a nicer texture in the crunch. If you just use pure sugar like some companies do, it will obviously be just a snap, like really crispy, really hard, and doesn't want to melt. But yours definitely has the right balance of butter to sugar ratio, and chocolate, of course, softens the sweetness of the overall impact. So it's very different. I've never seen anything like this for a long time. Usually in North America, the ones I've tasted have always been very, very sweet. Lots of almonds on top, you know, with a real short snap. And nothing wrong with that. I like that too. But this just seems to be, nobody's ever done this with the kind of chocolate you're using. You know, this is premium French chocolate, and Belgium. You've got a couple of Belgium chocolates in there as well. And no one's done that. So you're really going for the ultra gourmet market segment, which there really isn't too many players in that segment. So I think it's a nice niche for you, the brand. And we'll see what happens, but I'm very optimistic. You know, you've gone high end beyond belief here, and it will be successful.
It's my, you know, if Nicholas was with us, you know, he's my brother that created the recipe, and we haven't changed it. But we reimagined it. That's what it says on the back of our packaging. Toffee reimagined. And so as we started to go down and think of milk and dark and white cran and espresso and fireball, white gold, hazelnut, cherry, s'mores, chai, and the list goes on, it puts it all into, we have more to come to as well. Because, and this is to your belief, is when you have an amazing product and an amazing base, so the way that the ratios are, it's just perfect. All we can do is keep reimagining what to put on the top, you know, coat it with the right chocolate or the right nuts or the right pecans or right anything to then create more candies and more things that we can do. So I appreciate you spending some time with me and going through and just helping explain more what toffee is and the premium chocolate that we chose, and then, you know, the adventures of launching Two Brothers Chocolate as well. So we have the customization of just even more unique tastes and flavors to pair with it all. So I'll cheers you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.